care for one another. Follow that spirit.
Wade in the water, wade in the water, children, wade in the water. God's gonna trouble the water.
Wait for the Spirit. Wait, wait, wait for the Spirit, children. Wait for the Spirit. The Spirit of life will guide you. I can't believe in divinity. I'm gonna wait for the Spirit. I have my worth and my dignity. I believe in the Spirit of life. Search for truth and its meaning. Wait for the Spirit. Justice, equity, and compassion. Hold on to the Spirit of life.
Wait for the Spirit. Wait, wait, wait for the Spirit. Wait for the Spirit. The Spirit of life will guide you.
Let my conscience be my guide. Wait for the Spirit. Let peace and liberty be for all. Trust in the Spirit of life. The world is one community. Wait for the Spirit. Care for one another. Follow that Spirit, the Spirit of life. Wait for the Spirit. Care for one another. Follow that Spirit.
Wade in the water, wade in the water, children, wade in the water. God's gonna trouble the water.
Wait for the Spirit. Wait, wait, wait for the Spirit, children. Wait for the Spirit. The Spirit of life will guide you. I can't believe in divinity. I'm gonna wait for the Spirit. I have my worth and my dignity. I believe in the Spirit of life. Search for truth and its meaning. Wait for the Spirit. Justice, equity, and compassion. Hold on to the Spirit of life.
Wait for the Spirit. Wait, wait, wait for the Spirit. Wait for the Spirit. The Spirit of life will guide you.
Let my conscience be my guide. Wait for the Spirit. Let peace and liberty be for all. Trust in the Spirit of life. The world is one community. Wait for the Spirit. Care for one another. Follow that Spirit, the Spirit of life. Wait for the Spirit. Care for one another. Follow that Spirit.
Wade in the water. Wade in the water, children. Wade in the water. God's gonna trouble the water.
Wait for the Spirit.
One with actually the word anger in it. I don't recall, but there could easily be one. Yeah. There easily could, right?
The original You're welcome. Should do it 3 times, but.
Really loud.
Good morning. Please find your seat and prepare for this morning's service. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Columbia. My name is Kate Heald, and I am your service leader for today. Today we welcome a very special guest speaker, not preacher, Beth Johnson. I asked Beth to come and join us because in a former life, I was for a brief time clerk of Quaker meeting in Columbia, South Carolina, when it was very small. So I was interested in having some of those ideas brought before us. Our services are streamed on YouTube and Zoom, but no matter how you choose to join us, you are always welcome. For more information about UUCC, please visit our website at uucolumbia.org and follow us on Facebook and Instagram. We also provide weekly email updates each Thursday. We welcome families with children, and we provide childcare during our service for infants and children up to the age of 4. To be a volunteer, please see Bethany Storlazzi. Today, children and youth over the age of 4 will remain in the service with their parents. Kids, be sure to attend the ice cream social for children after the service. That said, kids. Just saying. We have a seating area in the back of the sanctuary, especially for children ages 4 to 7 and their parents. You may bring the toys found at the back of the social hall for quiet play. And we are working on hiring a director of religious exploration, and I hope that happens soon. I believe it will. Now, please silence all devices as we center ourselves for today's service and listen to the prelude.
I invite our choir forward, Chalice Voices, to sing Get Together, the famous song by the Youngbloods by Chet Powers, arranged by John Arterton.
Yep, hang on, I'm not done yet. You're not where you were earlier. All right.
I'm sorry, I left something out. My apologies. The flowers today are donated by Lee Mingy and loving member of her husband, Julian. And I'll do the next one after this. Thanks, Anna. Go ahead.
All right, sorry, misreading where your slate line was.
Yeah, I can see now, yeah. This is good.
Yes.
Excellent, and thank you. Before we proceed, and I muff up the order of service even more, we have a special announcement from Social Action. Who is not here right now, so I'll make it. Oh, there you are, yes.
Long legs. I did not prep this, so, it might be a little bumpy here and there, but
But we're excited.
we are excited. We are having a sign up today for House meetings for More Justice. Now, what is More Justice, you might say? More Justice is the interdenominational organization in the greater Columbia area, which has done so much to reduce gun violence, reduce food insecurity, and reduce homelessness in our communities. Have I missed anything, Kate?
Well, I think what attracts me to More Justice is that their goals are tangible and measurable. Also, you should know that, of course, in Columbia area, the predominant congregations are Christian. However, when we went to a social justice meeting, a More Justice meeting, we were welcomed with open arms. They respected any changes we wanted to make to scripts for our activity. And they had no questions about whether or not we belonged there. We felt very included. So there'll be more information about More Justice on a table in the back after the service.
Yes, and I probably should say something about the House meeting, shouldn't I?
You should.
Okay, I will. So the House meetings, what that is, there's a yearly cycle of activity that More Justice does. It starts in the fall, and it starts with a listening process to talk to people in the communities, such as your good selves and our good selves, to find out what's on our minds and what we're concerned about in the community. And we will be hosting 2 of those meetings here, actually one at your place, right, Kate?
One at my house.
Yeah, and one here at church after service. We'll have the dates back there. I won't go into that right now. But the idea is we have about a dozen folks, hopefully, who'll come in and tell us what they are most concerned about in terms of social justice and social and community conditions generally. And I can tell you more about that. I'll be at the table.
Great.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you, Kevin. All right. We are going to proceed with your obviously undercaffeinated service leader. Thank you. Please rise in body or in spirit and join me in the congregational covenant in your order of service. Love is the doctrine of this congregation. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve others in community. Thus do we covenant with one another. Please be seated. Unitarian Universalism is a diverse and non-creedal religion. Our community is based on deeds, not creeds. We are a covenantal religion, which means that we don't have to believe the same in order to treat each other the same, with respect, equity, compassion, and dignity. We side with love, embracing and welcoming all people. Our board members and committee chairs welcome your questions and comments. Board members may be recognized by their green name tags. Now we would like to welcome any guests or visitors who are here today. And Richard, could you help Ellie with that, please? So visitors, please wait for the microphone. If you're willing and able, please rise and share with us your name and where you are from.
Hi, I'm Larry Rosenberg, and I'm from Pompano Beach, Florida. And I'm here for 2 days, and this service is the highlight. Thank you.
Welcome, Larry.
Thank you. Hi, good morning. My name is Desiree. This is Clarissa. We're originally from Jamaica, and we moved to Colombia a few years ago, and we are exploring churches in the area. Thank you for having us.
Welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning to the people at the pulpit and also the congregation. My name is Octavia Chisholm Paulino. I am a believer, and I have enjoyed myself. I came up here to visit Sylvia by surprise. I have been welcomed, and I want to tell you all thank you.
You're welcome. Is there anyone else? All right. Ellie, why don't you take the microphone back to Richard? That would be great. He'll meet you up here. Thank you. Good job, Ellie. Visitors.
Well, you know.
Visitors, if you would like to know more about UUCC, please fill out a visitor card, place it in the collection plate, and we will email you about our events. Visitor cards may be found in the pocket on the back of each chair. Today's chalice lighter is Audrey. Spirit of light and life, come unto us. Now it's time for our opening hymn.
Our opening hymn is number 1023, Building Bridges. If you look in the seats in front of you, this is in the small teal hymnal, number 1023. Building Bridges is a contemporary English Quaker round from the women of the Greenham Common peace occupation in England in 1983. It was a protest song against nuclear proliferation. I invite you to stand in body or spirit. This is a round, but we're going to begin by singing 3 times through in unison. I'll play it once first. to try as a round, we're going to create a division right down the middle, sort of where our stage is, our microphone is. Think of just an invisible line going to the back. And I'm going to ask everybody on the right side to stay with me. We're going to start singing the song, and our only job will be to keep repeating. Everyone on the other side, I'm going to ask you to come in at line 3. Kevin, would you volunteer to help bring your side in? Sure. Okay. And through music, we'll build a bridge between this invisible division. Building bridges between our divisions. I reach out to you. Will you reach out to me? With all of our voices and all of our visions, friends, we could make such sweet harmony. Building bridges between our divisions. I reach out to you. Will you reach out to me? With all of our voices and all of our visions, friends, we could make such sweet harmony. Building bridges between our divisions. I reach out to you. You reach out to me. With all of our voices and all of our visions, friends, we could make such sweet harmony. With all of our voices and all of our visions, friends, we could make such sweet harmony.
And now I would like to introduce our guest speaker. Beth Johnson is a birthright friend, meaning that her father was a member of the Religious Society of Friends, having converted as a young man facing conscription in World War II. As a conscientious objector, he fought wildfires in the West, worked as a hospital orderly, was a subject in a medical experiment, and helped maintain trails in Appalachia. The story of his time during the war shaped her family's sense of who they were. The family continued their Quaker activities in Lima, Peru, from 1966 to 1968, while her father worked for the American Friends Service Committee. Her undergraduate alma mater is Guildford College in Greensboro, North Carolina, founded by the Friends. Despite this life with Friends, her family attended several UU fellowships as they moved about. Beth has 2 adult children who grew up in Columbia and 3 darling grandchildren. So she moved back to Columbia from her home state of North Carolina in 2019. It was natural for her to begin attending the Columbia monthly meeting again, and she agreed to act as clerk for 2 years, which will end this December. Her career included teaching biology and mother-baby nursing. She is now retired and lives in the Rosewood community. And please welcome our opening words by Beth.
Thank you, Kate. Thank you, Kate. So you can see on the front of your program what a query is. Friends and meetings use questions called queries that are designed to provoke internal examination of our lives. These queries are spiritual, and because we believe in continuing revelation, answers to these queries may change as we grow in spiritual awareness. The queries are used to reflect on the underlying bases of our actions, behaviors, and thoughts. So my opening words are a query that come from the Southern Appalachian Yearly Meeting Association, A Guide to Our Faith and Practice, which was published in 2001. How does our meeting remain in a spirit of worship when conducting business? In meeting for business, how can we be open to search for a sense of the meeting and to be guided toward resolution in the light?
And now we will have our story for all ages. If the children would please come forward. Beth, you might want to grab the mic.
Should I use this one?
Yeah.
Hi, kids. Kate did tell me to kind of pick a story aimed at a younger audience, but I didn't do that. This is called A Bold New Plan. It's from Lighting Candles in the Dark, stories of courage and love in action, prepared by the Religious Education Committee of Friends General Conference, published in 2001. So, only 30 years after the birth of our new nation, once again we were at war with our Canadian neighbors. Once the war was over, there was a lot of fear and mistrust on both sides. Richard Rush sat in his office at the U.S. State Department in Washington, reading a letter. He frowned. It was from an officer on the Canadian border. The officer said, "Send us more soldiers. Let's build more battleships to protect the Great Lakes. We need bigger forts." Richard Rush shook his head. That's not what he wanted for the border. "I love my country," he said, "but I think more soldiers, more battleships, and larger forts don't build trust or peace. I have a better plan." He pushed back his chair and walked down the hall to the office of the British ambassador. At that time, Canada was a British colony, and its interests were taken care of by the British ambassador. His name was Sir Charles Bagot. "Sir Charles," said Richard Rush, "I have received a letter from an officer on the front lines. He wants more soldiers, larger forts, more battleships. But that, in my opinion, that will just cause more trouble and mistrust on both sides." "I agree," said Sir Charles Bagot. So together they came up with a new plan. It took 6 years to finalize this plan. There was a lot of negotiations. There were a lot of revisions. But in 1818, a treaty was signed between the United States, Britain, and its colony, Canada, regulating the U.S.-Canadian border. There were to be no soldiers, there were to be no battleships, and the forts were going to be torn down. So that treaty has lasted for over 200 years. There have been disagreements, but they have always been settled around a table. My hope is that someday we'll have a story like this, similar to this, about our southern border.
Thank you, Beth. Thank you, children. And now, And now it is time for our candles of community. If you have a significant personal joy, sorrow, or concern you would like to have shared from this pulpit, please email or text our minister by noon on Friday. If you wish to share in person, we request that you pick up a candle in the foyer prior to service. We have an active caring committee for those in need, and they wear yellow name tags. Will those of you who have taken a candle please come forward at this time and share briefly your joy or concern?
We are Linda and Richard McLeod. We're lighting a candle today for our daughter-in-law, Heather Winters. She will have a surgical procedure tomorrow, August 26th, to place a biliary stent in her badly damaged liver. Heather has suffered for the last 2 years with various internal problems, all resulting from alcohol abuse, which has now put her life at risk. She is very weak, weighing 92 pounds. Her husband, our son Andy, is dealing with several health issues, also resulting from his alcohol addiction. It is our hope that the challenge they are facing to give up all forms of alcohol will be successful as they deal with this one day at a time. We ask for your positive thoughts and your prayers.
Thank you.
Good morning, I'm Chuck Ashley, and today I'm lighting a candle for my dear friend, I love her so much, Janice Klein, because she dislocated her hip yesterday, and she put it back in place herself, but she's at home and in a great deal of pain. Janice, I love you.
Thank you, Chuck.
Good morning, I'm Sylvia Brown, and I have a great joy today. I was surprised by a visit from my friend from Tennessee, whom you met earlier, Octavia. And I live alone, and it was just so good to see Octavia. I was in shock and amazement. She said, "I'm trying to find your door, where are you?" So that's my great joy, and it's the simple things in life that make us happy. Thank you.
Thank you, Sylvia.
Good morning, I'm Bud Ashley. I'd like to light a candle of recognition and remembrance for somebody who was born in 1910. They weren't always, they had problems with how do I say it? Anyhow, they were kind of controversial in some of their religious beliefs, is what I'm trying to say, but they did say a lot of good things, and I want to read this short poem called Life. I don't know if anybody's aware of it. Life is an opportunity, benefit from it. Life is a beauty, admire it. Life is a dream, realize it. Life is a challenge, meet it. Life is a duty, complete it. Life is a game, play it. Life is costly, care for it. Life is wealth, keep it. Life is love, enjoy it. Life is mystery, know it. Life is a promise, fulfill it. Life is a sorrow, overcome it. Life is a song, sing it. Life is a struggle, accept it. Life is a tragedy, confront it. Life is an adventure, dare it. Life is luck, make it. Life is too precious, do not destroy it. Life is life, fight for it. This was written by Mother Teresa.
Thank you, Bud.
I have a two-part candle, a candle of concern for Chuck Barnett, who broke his hip and is still in Lexington Medical Center, and his wife Lois has been placed in memory care because he was the primary caregiver for her. And then I have a candle of joy because I had been separated from my children, and we are back together, and so happy to be back together. Oh, here's the other one. Here's the other one.
Thank you.
One more. Hello, I'm Pat Moore, and I have a triple candle, but it's only for one person. This is a message of caution, regret, and memory. I missed Julian Mingy's memorial yesterday. You know what I did? I put it on the wrong week. If they'd just done it next week, I would have been there. But I had it on next Saturday, and I didn't find out until I showed up for choir practice. And so this is a candle of memory for Julian Mingy, who had his memorial yesterday, and those beautiful flowers are here for him. I hope you're listening, Lee.
Go ahead, light it. And in this moment, we will also light one final candle for those joys and concerns. Oh, or not.
I don't usually do this, so maybe that's why. My name is Mike Sullivan. I wasn't planning on coming today until I read about our speaker, and I felt an affinity because back in the 1960s, after I got out of the Peace Corps, I was a conscientious objector, and I served 2 years of alternative civilian service at the Rochester State Hospital in New York. But as long as I'm here, I want to light a candle of gratitude, and my gratitude is for being alive. I practice gratitude all the time, and the gift of life is always on the top of my list. But after what happened to me this past week on Tuesday, it's taken on such impact. On Tuesday morning, I was driving my car, delivering my Meals on Wheels, which I do 3 days a week, and I was approaching an intersection with a steady green light, an intersection I've gone through delivering meals for the past 16 years, probably 5,000 times, and I see out of the corner of my eye a car in the cross street coming at a high speed and not stopping, going right through the red light. And in the time it took me to scream, "Oh my God," it was a horrific crash. My airbags deployed. I was totally stunned and shocked. I didn't know what was going on. And the emergency assistance operator on my car monitoring started talking to me, and I tried answering some questions. And then a woman came by, and she was telling the person what happened. And she asked me, "Are you hurt?" And I said, "My chest hurts." So she puts her hand on my chest and starts praying. And then the next thing I know, the EMTs are there, and they cut the airbag so they can take me out of the car and put the neck collar on and take me to the hospital. And I was, observed in the ER for a few hours. I have a fractured sternum, but it could have been so much worse. So in a funny way, I feel lucky, and I feel awfully unlucky. The fracture is not displaced, so I don't need surgery. But it's displacing any semblance of normalcy in my life for the next 8 to 12 weeks while the fracture heals. Tomorrow night, I was supposed to be going with Barry Arendt. Barry was here a month ago when I gave my sermon on empathy in animals. He and I were going to Atlanta tomorrow night because the Indiana Fever with Aaliyah Boston and Caitlin Clark are playing the Atlanta Dream. 19,000 people, sold-out game, very exciting. More importantly, I missed the trip to Dublin I was going to take in 3 weeks. And the irony of this is that trip was rescheduled from a year ago when I had to cancel it because my wife was walking across Divine Street with a green light and this giant Mack truck made a left turn into her. And she didn't have the protection of a car around her like I did. So she's been dealing with 11 months of pain and suffering and trauma. And just as things are beginning to turn the corner and we're beginning to see some light at the end of the tunnel, boom. I consider myself a resilient person, but this is a brutal double whammy, and it's really overwhelming. And so I appreciate any healing thoughts and prayers. You know, I never would have thought of asking for prayers because when I stopped being a practicing Catholic a long time ago, I stopped praying, or I thought I did, but I realized, no, that's not true. As Unitarians, we have a different conception and belief about prayer. And we say it here every Sunday. Love is the doctrine of this congregation, the quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. And we end that to serve others in community. And I've always been a big believer in service because in giving we receive. So I ask for your healing thoughts and your prayers.
Thank you.
This morning, I light a candle for a dear friend of mine and many of us here, Elizabeth Harris. She and her family wanted privacy when this first happened, but I'm now able to share with you here in this community. In July, Elizabeth had a stroke, and it was very serious. She spent a couple weeks in the hospital here in Columbia and is now in rehabilitation at the Shepherd Center in Atlanta. She'll be coming back to Columbia in mid-September and will continue to need care at a skilled nursing facility as her journey to recovery continues. I was able to visit her in July and also have had FaceTime visits. Her unique personality, vitality, and presence are still very much intact. She's working to regain her speech vocabulary and her mobility. She is my friend not only in person, but also in music, and since this happened, we have sung together. The music in her is so deep and so natural, she still remembers it, and it still comes out of her in beauty from a special place beyond where mere words reside. It's so important that we cherish our friendships, nurture them, and don't take them for granted. If you'd like to join me in sending words of support, friendship, or care to Elizabeth, I have slips of paper that have an address online where you can email her at the Shepherd Center. They print them out and bring them to her. And also an address. She loves to receive cards, and flowers can also be received. This is for Elizabeth.
Thank you, Hannah. And now we light one virtual final candle for those joys and concerns that remain silent in our hearts. To ponder these joys and concerns, let us pause for a moment of silent meditation. This congregation participates in Share the Plate. Half of our cash collection each Sunday goes to a local charity, a way for us to give back to our community. Palmetto Place Children and Youth Services is our Share the Plate recipient for August. If you wish to donate to Share the Plate, please write Share the Plate on the memo line of your check or donation envelope. Thank you. Our Share the Plate speaker today is Nancy Shillington Perez from the UUCC Share the Plate Committee.
Hey there. This is from Laird Weaver, who's the director there at Palmetto Place, Children and Youth Services. She says, and she wasn't able to be with us today after all. She says, "Dear UUCC congregation, on behalf of everyone at Palmetto Place, I want to express our deepest gratitude for your generous support during your August Share the Plate donation program. Your congregation's commitment is making a difference in the lives of the community's most vulnerable youth. It's very aspiring and deeply appreciated. At Palmetto Place, our mission is definitely to provide a safe place for homeless teens, but we are also dedicated to offering comprehensive wraparound support that addresses every aspect of their lives. This includes assistance with resume building and job placement, helping them gain employment, and even supporting their living expenses as they transition into independent living. We also provide resources for higher education, ensuring that they have the opportunity to pursue their dreams. From helping them graduate high school to securing health care benefits, we are there every step of the way. Your donations make all of this possible. Thanks to your kindness and generosity, we can continue to provide these critical services that empower our residents to build stable, successful futures. The impact of your support is far-reaching and truly life-changing for the young people who come to us in need of guidance, stability, and hope. We are incredibly grateful to have you as partners in our mission. Your belief in our work at Palmetto Place and your willingness to invest in the futures of these deserving teens means more than words can express. Together, we are creating brighter futures and lasting change for our community. So, from everyone in our Palmetto Place family, thank you again for your generosity and for being such a vital part of our efforts to support and uplift those we serve. You're the reason we're able to be here and to change lives of these incredible youth. With heartfelt gratitude, Laird, from the developmental manager from Palmetto Place. Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy. Will the ushers please come forward?
Our offertory music is Beauty in the Rose Garden by Edward McDowell.
We receive these gifts with gratitude and appreciation because they show that we are truly a giving community. And now, let us hear from Beth Johnson. Title of her talk is Business and Worship, a Quaker Perspective.
Thanks, Kate. So one of the founders of the Quakers, the Religious Society of Friends of the Truth, was George Fox, and he was born in 1624. So this is the 400th anniversary of his birth year. He was an itinerant shoemaker. He traveled around the northern and northeastern parts of Britain, England, making shoes, but also talking about religion. He was very interested in religion, well-read in the Bible. Famously, he could find no one who could speak to his condition. He was near the city of Lancashire, climbed Pendle Hill, and had a religious experience on Pendle Hill, in which the divine God spoke to him directly. And from this experience, he learned that there is no need of an intermediary between individuals and the divine. He came down, and because he had had this revelation, he saw that revelation could be ongoing. He became a minister, spreading his experience. He found acceptance. The mid-1600s was a time of religious ferment in England, so there were all kinds of people looking for new ways to worship. Many people were disgusted by what they called hireling priests, people who went into the ministry basically to improve their social position. George Fox found a ready listener in Margaret Fell, who was a woman of some means, married to Judge Fell. They had a big house, and they had, as I said, financial means. She helped George Fox spread his ministry. In fact, some years after the death of her husband, George Fell, she and George married. The worship service that George established originally, and the kind of worship service that we do here in Columbia, is silent. We are all ministers to each other. We all have a responsibility to share insights, leadings with one another. Now, friends often act on their leadings, even back in the 1600s. If a leading resulted in imprisonment for one of the early friends, the other friends were responsible financially and emotionally for the families. So the groups wanted to vet the leadings. This is kind of the start of our meeting for business. The early friends would meet for a silent worship. If someone had a message from the divine, then that would be shared. Later on in the week or the month, there would be a meeting for worship with attention to business, because the friends to this day have the idea that, the belief that when friends are together, it is a worship session. So the friends would get together, and leadings would be discussed, and they would either be supported by the attenders or not. This established a kind of a face-to-face, non-hierarchical structure for our meetings for business. It is a process called consensus. The Friends didn't invent consensus. Numerous Native American tribes made their decisions based on consensus. Surely throughout the world, there have been numerous groups that use this kind of process to make decisions. This is how the Friends make financial decisions, accept new members. Much of the work leading up to our meeting for business is done by committees. In our Quaker consensus process, we share information, we air differences, and then we weave them together to leave space for new ideas. All viewpoints are shared and are relevant. This type of church government provides group authority over the individual, but it's also modified by individual initiative that can influence the judgment of the group. In theory, consensus decision-making leads to group acceptance and ownership of the outcome. There are no winners or losers. No one person is accepted as totally right or totally wrong. Everyone is bringing an element of the truth. The idea should be offered and explained, not argued. One should listen and weigh. Eloquence of speaking, appealing to emotion in a business meeting is out of place. Core Quaker values and beliefs influence our meetings for business. And these are that there is that of God. We don't have creeds. We do have members who don't believe in a God. We speak of God as the light, the will and the power to do good. But we believe that that will and power, that light, is in everyone. Everyone has access to truth. We're all equal in the eyes of God. And I do use God in the way I talk. We are a religious society. We are called the Religious Society of Friends of the Truth. That was George Fox's original name. We welcome diversity of thought. And the challenge in our business meetings is not to decide who wins, but to test individual leadings in the group and to seek clarity. So again, underlying Quaker beliefs that we must always remember in our meetings for worship with attention to business. God can be revealed to anyone at any time. No one is denied access to the truth. No one has total access to the truth. We're all ministers, and it is everyone's responsibility at Columbia Monthly Meeting of Friends to minister to each other. We need everyone's ideas. Everyone shares in the spiritual responsibility. And we try to focus on simplicity. Meeting for business depends on the sensitivity, goodwill, and spiritual readings of the participants. Opinion should be expressed humbly and tentatively. It's not good form to start your idea, state your idea beginning with the word I. What we like to do is modify our comments or ideas based on the previous speakers. Our meeting for business is facilitated by a clerk. As Kate said, I'm the clerk through December. I recognize the speakers. We always start business meeting with some silence to center. We usually read a query. We have an agenda, which I have prepared, and we collect the documents that and send them out so that people who attend hopefully are informed. After our query, people will indicate to me that they would like to share an idea. I recognize them. They state their idea simply. We spend some silence, not a lot, but we leave a period of silence between speakers. Speaker A says their piece, silence. I recognize Speaker B. Silence. Speaker C. A's comment and C's comment ideally have incorporated the idea of A. This way, we can move our business forward. We discourage a repeat of what A has said. We have some sort of Quaker sayings. If C wants to emphasize A's point, they might say, "That friend speaks my mind." If at some point A had risen a concern, had expressed a concern, but it was no longer a concern, the next time I recognize A, they may withdraw that concern. So, the clerk tries to recognize everyone before A has another chance to speak, because we want to hear from everyone. We discourage back and forth. If it looks like we're getting to a back and forth kind of situation, the clerk will ask for silence. Sometimes the clerk will humbly interrupt a speaker. If we've all done it, the speaker is going on and on, getting distracted, maybe saying something that's already been said, then it is the clerk's job to stop that, to interrupt them, so that the business can move forward. Dogmatic persons speaking with an air of finality or a tone of a debater are out of bounds. They're a serious hindrance to the good progress of our meeting for worship with attention to business. In consensus, the goal is to negotiate to the best solution. Really, what the friends want is to reach what we call a sense, S-E-N-S-E, sense of the meeting. We want to hear the spirit of the concern in order to discern what is right for our group. We presume that in any matter, there is a way forward that harmonizes with God's plan, and we're searching for it. The sense of the meeting at its best is not a compromise. It is a sincere effort to discern the truth at that time. In order to reach a sense, we must go deep below self-centered desires of the self. I have read that there is a correlation between the depth and power of meeting for worship and the depth and power of sense of the meeting. Sense is not based on competition of ideas, rhetorical skill, or logical brilliance. Now, sometimes we do have members or attenders who have a special expertise. Although it's a non-hierarchical meeting, obviously some people know more about some topics than others, and we will give that person's thoughts, ideas, more weight. There are always in Friends meeting some people who, over time, their ideas, their insights have been especially helpful. These are called weighty friends, and of course, we give their ideas more weight. But we always have to be careful of accepting the traditional pattern. We don't want to necessarily do that automatically. In the end, the actions of the meeting should reveal an inner sense of rightness that all the present feel. As the consideration proceeds, unity may gradually emerge. Sometimes it's reached along lines that were not even considered to start with. So, you have in your program a list of the obligations of the members of the group, the clerk, and then what the group and the clerk do together. It's from a book called Building Consensus, Conflict and Unity by Monteith Snyder. It was published by Earlham Press in 2001. Here's what we hope to get from the members who are attending our meeting for worship with attention to business. Focus on the good of the group, not just their individual preference. Accept that disagreement is normal. It's helpful. We need to work to understand the reason behind the concerns expressed. And it is important to use body language and verbal language that expresses deep listening and consideration. We want to avoid negative feelings towards each other. If this person sharing the idea, maybe they're not their favorite person, you try to put that aside to listen to what they're saying. Treating differences of ideas and strategies with respect, waiting until the speaker finishes. We don't want people asking for recognition to speak next when the current speaker is still speaking. That, of course, indicates that they're not listening. And we've got that period of silence for reflection on what the previous speaker has said. We want everyone to speak once on a topic and allow everyone else a chance to speak. Part of the clerk's job is to recognize folks who have not previously spoken and even seek out opinions and thoughts of those who have not spoken. We want folks to speak to the group, not back and forth to each other, to be respectful of new ideas. And what we hope for is that attenders are building on what everyone has said and coming up with new directions, new ideas. So what the clerk does, I identify who speaks next. I generally allow equal opportunity for everyone to express themselves, move the discussion along, summarizing, asking clarifying questions, maybe calling for silence if we're getting in a little back and forth, or it seems like the body language, the words, or everything's getting a little too exciting. Ask for some silence. Calm things down. Let people refocus. Maybe redirecting people to earlier points that seem to have been kind of forgotten. And then ultimately asking if the group is ready to reach a decision. Many times no decision is reached. And the clerk will say, it appears to me that we are not ready to make a decision. This topic should be seasoned. Let's lay it over till next month. And then the participants will indicate their approval. Sometimes it feels to the clerk that we have reached a sense. When that is the case, the clerk will try to formulate what we call a minute or a statement that expresses the sense of the meeting. We do have someone taking minutes, so the clerk will propose a minute. The recorder may read it back. The clerk might say something about, does this express what we want? It may be revised. After revisions, the new minute, revised minute, will be read, and the clerk will ask if this minute can be approved. Silence indicates approval. Also, it's all nice to hear a few people say approved, approved, approved. When that's the case, the minute is reread, it's official, and we may discuss the next steps, a few next steps. Sometimes there is no unity. There's dissent, but we've seasoned this topic, and there is a sense that folks want to move forward, want to make a decision. When there is a dissenter, and it happens frequently, we may lay it over, as I mentioned earlier, or the dissenter can step aside, and they do this out loud, verbally. They step aside. The clerk formulates a minute, asks for approval. The dissension, the reason for the dissent, the fact that one member stepped aside is acknowledged in the minutes, and then the decision is made. Sometimes, I've never seen this happen, I've read about it, the dissenter does not step aside. That's rare, or usually, if there's dissent, the topic is laying over. It took 100 years for the Friends to agree that Friends were not allowed to have slaves. So you see, that topic was laying over for a long time. We do have a process where we can move forward with the sense of the meeting and the dissenter not step aside. I've never seen it happen, but in theory. Again, the dissension would be recorded, and the reasons for that dissent would be recorded in our official minutes. So that is how the Friends conduct our meeting for business. Thank you very much for listening. I'll be happy to answer any questions you have at the social hour.
Thank you, Beth.
Our closing hymn is in your gray hymnal. It's number 16, "'Tis a Gift to Be Simple." I invite you to stand and join in singing.
"'Tis a gift to be simple, 'tis a gift to be free, 'tis a gift to come down where we want to be, and when we find ourselves in the place just right, 'twill be in the valley of love and delight. When true simplicity is gained, to bow and to bend we shan't be ashamed. To turn will be our delight, till by turning we come round right.
So the closing words are also in the form of a query. This query comes from a book called Friends for 300 Years by Howard Brinton, published by Pendle Hill Publications in 1994. And the query comes from a list of queries that were in the book from Philadelphia. This list was published in 1955. It says, "Are your meetings for business held in a spirit of love, understanding, and forbearance? Do you seek the right cause of action in humble submission to the authority of truth and the patient search for unity?"
Thank you, everyone. As we extinguish this chalice at the end of our time today, may its flame glow gently in our hearts and light our paths as we leave this place until we are together again. And now for our congregational benediction. Again, we welcome our visitors. Thank you all for being here. Before this concludes our service, before you leave, please take a few minutes to welcome our visitors and greet those around you, and then join us in the social hall for refreshments. And you the vote and more justice. Thank you.